Yo, what's going on, man? Top of the morning. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. We have a beautiful slate of WNBA basketball today. We'll jump right into it after we get through a couple of the comments, as we always do. No recap in the WNBA, even though I did that thing again where, I did the live show yesterday a little late, around 4:15 Eastern Standard Time, and it was, Seattle first half plus the 4.5 was a cover. A winner, the under in that game, another winner, and then Washington team total up and over 79.5. All three were winners last night. I don't know. I guess you could say I really haven't been trusting myself in the WNBA. Not making the plays official plays, but because it feels still kind of janky. But yeah, the things that I've been talking about recently have absolutely been cashing. I got a couple plays that I'm definitely putting in today, so hopefully you can kind of keep the short list of plays going here, because plays on the short list today, they haven't been made official yet, but there's definitely some things I'm firing off in the W today. So let's jump into it. Like I said, big slate of games. This is just WNBA, so I won't be going through NFL, but I did go. The one play I gave out yesterday was the over on Derrick Henry rushing yards, and that was a loser. He ended up with 13 rushing yards after having 6, I think, on the first drive. Just not really trusting that offensive line, those 3 new offensive linemen for the Baltimore Ravens, and they don't really run them a lot. Lamar Jackson runs the ball a million times yesterday, but not as many for Derrick Henry. So smaller play, but that was a loser. And I don't really love today's game a lot, if I'm being honest. The Brazil Friday night game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers, not one of my favorites, honestly. And I think there's a lot of exterior things going on with the game as well, as far as air quality, safety, playing on the soccer field. It's just a lot going on. So I'm gonna skip that one, but I will be putting some bets in the members only section of the YouTube channel. So let's get into it for today. Mark says, "Good morning, Chris and Cappers. Nice day for me yesterday." Thank you. Let's have a great one. Absolutely. Let's do it again today, Mark. What up, D Jones? He says, "Good morning, Chris and family." DJ Propcast on the Mystics plus 5.5. He says, "Thank you, sir." Yeah, it was should have been a great day for me last night. I'm glad you guys played the plays, because they was absolutely some winners for sure. CG3, top of the morning to you. PG says, "Top of the morning. RIP to Rich Homie Quan." Yeah, we talked about Rich Homie yesterday. Definitely sending out some prayers and condolences for his girlfriend, his family, and everybody else that was impacted for sure. To the music, just the hip hop culture in general, man. Yeah, for sure. What up, Aaron? Appreciate you for tapping in this morning. Says fading the Mercury at all costs. That offense is falling off a cliff. We'll talk about it a little bit more when they play again. Not today, because they looked absolutely terrible. What up to my guy Justin? She says, "Morning, Chris and chat. Appreciate that under 164 in the Seattle New York game. More power to you. Appreciate that, bro. I'm glad you cashed it." And Jay Aries in here as well. Says happy Friday, player. All right, let's jump into it for today, man. We got, like I said, we got 4 games on the board. I think it's going to be a really good 4 games as well. A couple I'm undecided on. Feel like I still need to do a little bit of diving, deep diving. I try to cap these games. Honestly, the day before. I typically look at games as soon as we get the injury report. So tomorrow's games I'm going to be looking at, this afternoon. But I still feel like I didn't do, too much work on all these games. So let's see if we can find some angles that we like together. I know what I'm liking, but I want to talk it out with you guys. Let's go Lynx and Fever up first. So this line, I think, opened at 1.5 in favor of the Minnesota Lynx, the road favorite Minnesota Lynx, and the Indiana Fever are now 2.5-point dogs. I think it's the consensus on most books. There are some 3s, so shop around depending on what side it is that you want. Let's see, make sure I see 3. Yeah, I do see 3s. Looks like it's getting pushed to 3. Total 169.5 is a pretty high total, but we know both of these teams have been really, really good recently. These are the 2 best teams, I think, outside of in their last 10 games after the Olympic break. I think both of these teams are 8-2 straight up. So you get the Lynx. They do have a significant rest advantage here, 4 days to compare to 1 for the Fever. First of a 3-game road trip for them. They got some difficult games coming up. And back-to-back non-covers. They didn't cover that big spread in their last game. And they also didn't cover because they ended up losing to the Dallas Wings. So 25-9 on the season, 21-13 against the number. You can see their road record here, 10-6 straight up, 11-5 against the number. And look at the offensive and defensive metrics for both of these teams. Both of these teams top 4 in every statistical category. Well, the offensive rating, defensive rating, and net rating over their last 5 games. I mean, needless to say, the Fever have been absolutely hooping. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, putting Hall in the starting lineup. She's really stretched the floor for the Indiana Fever team. And it's all about pace and space, it feels like, with the Fever. These two teams play very, very similar basketball. A lot of pick and roll, high pick and roll, a lot of runs to runs to the rim. And the Fever, you haven't really wanted to fade this team recently. The last time they were at home playing against a really good team was against the Connecticut Sun. They smoked the Sun in that game. Remember, I talked about taking the Sun. I think a lot of people were I talked about taking the Fever. A lot of people like the Sun in that game. I don't really want to fade the Fever at the crib, if I'm being honest with you guys. But I do think that the Lynx are the better team. And this is a revenge spot here for the Fever. The only game that they've lost since the Olympic break was against the Lynx. I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check it. Yeah, 7-1 straight up, 6-2 against the number. Only loss came against the Minnesota Lynx. Of course, that was Maya Moore jersey retirement night. They lost that game 90-80 in that one. And they've looked really, really good as a home dog. I think they're 4-0 against the spread in that spot as well. But this is a step up in class, in my opinion. The Fever have been getting wins against some of the teams that struggle a little bit more on the road. I like the Lynx here. I do like the Lynx. If I'm playing, then I want to say laying, but I'm probably taking the money line with the Lynx. I think that's my favorite play in this game. And when I look at it, X's and O's wise, I do think that, looking at Minnesota, what is the Fever weakness? The ability to defend the 3-point line. We saw it even in their last game with Azurá Stevens, hitting a bunch of threes. Kia Nurse hitting a bunch of threes in that game as well. And what do the Minnesota Lynx do well? They spread you out. They shoot a ton of threes. I saw Elena Smith. She's off the injury report. So Minnesota looks like they're going to be healthy. Also got to mention Timmy Fong-Bagley, probably their best perimeter post, defender, is listed as a game time decision. She injured her shoulder and missed that last game that they played in. So she is listed as questionable. We'll see what happens there. But I like Minnesota. Like I said, if I'm playing, I'm taking Minnesota here. I do think that they are the better team, and I think that they want the game too. I think they want to see if they can put the fire out that is the Indiana Fever right now. Let's see what you guys think before we move on. Justin says he moved on to Aces -132. You probably about to stress me out and be against it. Nah, we'll get to it in just a second, Justin. Not disagreeing with you there though. That Liberty -7.5, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to stay away from the full game, because the Liberty are the much better team in the second half, in my opinion. But boy, they went 3 minutes without scoring a bucket last night, and failed to cover that 8. Ended up winning the game 77-70. What up, Ball Talk? Ski says ain't been to sleep yet, still riding that Chiefs high. Yeah, I know Ski's super hype, man. He's smoking that Lamar pack this morning. Couldn't talk you off, Ski. Could not talk you off. Blunt says line makes no sense. Lynx -2 for me. I mean, it makes sense when you look at how good the Fever have been playing. I don't think it's going to be an easy game at all. I just like the Lynx. I think that they can win the game. Skrilla says hit the like button. We deep in here. Support our guy. Appreciate that, man. Nando says he likes the Fever and the over. Okay. Fever and the over. Travis, what's going on, bro? Hope all is well with you. He says, ain't no way I'm fading the Fever. You riding that till it goes down. Yeah, I think you got to be able to predict which one is going, which one's going to be the loser. And I think they could lose this game here. I really, really do. Mike says over in the Fever game. I think it could be a sneaky under. I got to look a little bit deeper in the total, but the Fever have been winning their games with defense. If you look at them as a home dog, that's typically when their defense typically plays a little bit better. We know that the Minnesota Lynx are also one of the better defensive teams in the WNBA, and I do think that they match up pretty well. Fever -3 for Aaron. JFX says, man, forget the Liberty. Blew my parlay. Dropping Dime says, I might be in the building for this one, but I'm staying off. She says, are the Lynx fully healthy, Chris? They are. Lynx are fully healthy. Nobody on the injury report for the Lynx today. And like I said, I was listening to some of the post practice stuff yesterday. It sounds like they're going, Cheryl Reeves is a really good coach. I think they got the coaching advantage here. Even though Christy Size has been, she's been a lot better throughout the second half of the season. I just think the Lynx are just a tad bit of a step up in class. And I'm not one possession game. I think the Lynx can get it done. That's what I'm thinking. What up, young OG? Reminding people to hit the like button as well. Appreciate that. And Travis says he likes Clark's points, Mitchell points, Boston rebounds here. Mitchell says, I'm staying off of this game. This is tricky. Fever been playing crazy at home. Mitchell says, if I had a side, it'd be the Lynx. Alex says, thank you, Chris, for the plays. Made a hell of a parlay from your picks yesterday, plus 800. Glad you cashed them, Alex, for sure. Ball Talk says, got to take the plus money Lynx. All the value is there. I like the Lynx. I do like the Lynx. Granted, hard to fade the Fever. I understand if you don't want to do so. All right, let's go to Connecticut. We got the Aces and the Connecticut Sun. I think this line, last time I looked, which was right before I started the show, was 1.5. And it is some twos out there as well. Total going up. 163.5 is what it was about 15 minutes ago. It's up to 165. So there's some movement coming in on the over in this spot. And I'm not sure if I agree with that. I know it's a super low total, but when I look into it, just go here. The Aces, days rest, first of a 4-game road trip. They got some difficult games the Aces do coming up. This is a very, very difficult stretch for them, in my opinion. Let me just look at something real quick before we jump into it. All right, so the Aces, let's just say 2 days rest. So 2 days rest for the Aces. First of a 4-game road trip. They got the Liberty, the Fever, and the Sun, and the Storm on deck for these next few games. You could kind of poke a hole in some of their recent success, even though, they've been really, really good. You can see that they're the number one net rated team over the last 5 games, number 2 in offensive rating, number 4 in defensive rating. But they did play the Sky. The Mercury are falling off a cliff. They smoked them. They did beat the Dream. That game was played without Tina Charles, and they did beat the Wings in the Sky. So they have been beating up on the bottom feeders, these teams that aren't going to make the playoffs. The last time they played a really good team was the Lynx. They lost both games, one at home and one on the road. Then they beat the Sky, who haven't won since the Olympic break, but one game. The Wings, like I said, haven't won any game. Haven't been playing a little bit better, but they also lost that game. They lost to the Wings on the road, and then they beat the Dream at home, beat the Mercury, that's, like I said, falling off a cliff, and beat the Sky. So 3 straight wins, 3 straight covers for them. They are 10-5 on the season, straight up 5-9-1 against the numbers. So they haven't been covering these numbers on the road. And you get a Connecticut Sun team that's coming off 1 day's rest, last of a 3-game homestand. They lost to the Storm, got smoked by the Storm actually in that last game. They are 24-9, straight up 13-4 at the crib as well. Only 6-11 against the spread at home. But like you said, this is a one possession type game. And if you look at the Sun as the home dog this season, they are 0-2 straight up, 0-2 against the spread. They lost to the Liberty both times. So can the Aces come in here and beat this Connecticut Sun team as well? Going through the injury report, I want to say there was nobody on it for the Aces. Connecticut, same thing. Just Tiffany Mitchell. She's been out for quite some time now. So my thoughts about this game, man. I do think even though the Aces have been beating up on the lesser than I just mentioned the teams that they've been beating up on. I do think that they can beat the Connecticut Sun. This is a team that they typically play really, really play tough, and that they end up, they typically end up beating. When I was looking into it yesterday, one of the things that stood out to me, and I know that the teams have changed just a tad bit. I think we can probably all agree that the Connecticut Sun have been playing a little bit better offensively outside of that last game. When you got Ty Harris out there, she's another scorer for your team. Veronica Burton, I think she's another scorer for the team. And Marina Mabry, of course, coming over, definitely gives them some space. And Dejanay has been playing pretty good. But I think this is the Aces spot. I do think it's the Aces spot. When I look at the head-to-head matchup, this is what I wanted to share with you guys. Aces have beaten the Connecticut Sun 7 of the last 10 times. So 7-3. They've also beaten them the first time that they played earlier this season, 85-74 in Vegas. They were laying 5, won that game by 11 points. That game did go under the 165.5. But yeah, I think it's an Aces spot. I really, really do. It's really difficult to fade the Sun. We know that they can play slow. They're gonna play defense, but I'm not sure who's guarding Asia Wilson. And I kind of feel like the Aces can get the job done. The other thing that kind of scares me just a tad bit, and this is where Queen Egbo comes in. I think she could be big in this game for the Aces if they can get her off the bench, especially if Dolson is, not Stephanie Dolson, Meg Gustafson is not, stretching the floor. I kind of feel like Queen Egbo could get in because they'll need her on the glass. The the Connecticut Sun are a really good rebounding team, and I know that they're much better rebounding than this Aces team. So even though they've been beating up on lesser ends, I like Vegas here in this spot. I think that they're finally starting to put it together. Pretty rested in this spot, coming off 2 days rest. First game on the East Coast, but I think the Aces can get the job done here. It's a difficult fade of the Connecticut Sun because they have been playing well, but that's why I'm kind of looking at it. Let's see what you guys think here. What up, TCM Bats? He said, I joined late. Did you talk about Fee over 20.5 points? I did not, but I couldn't talk you off playing Fee. Fee should, I think she'll probably get matched up with Nalissa Smith today. She could cook. It's just difficult to play Fee all the time though, because they just such a well-rounded team, man. It's really difficult. I think Kayla McBride could have a big game just because, we talked about liking Rakia Jackson in the last matchup on Wednesday. And we know that the Indiana Fever not the best three-point defense. They're actually one of the worst. So it kind of feels like, any of those ladies could get hot from the three-point line. And Kayla McBride is the three-point specialist. I kind of like Kayla McBride, but I couldn't talk you off TC Best. I'm just not on Fee in this game. Boss talk. I'm not getting into this, but yeah, one of my favorites, man. Definitely one of my favorites. Aaron says the Sun is horrible offensively, no consistency. And I would agree. Sometimes their offense can look really bad, man. It can look really bad. Dropping downs like the first half under 82.5. Justin says he feels better now. Yeah, I'm not looking towards the Sun in this game. It's a difficult fade of the Sun, but I'm not looking to fade them. Young Man Travel says, morning fam, I see the Aces stepping up their competition heading into the postseason. Like the spot for them. And I agree. Young OG likes Asia for 30. Bree Jones gonna have her hands full today for sure. Definitely gonna have her hands full with Asia. If Asia pull up with a white t-shirt on, that pretty much tells you all you need to know. Dropping Dime says Aces 9-1 to the under in their last 10 in the first half. Mark says he moved on the Aces -1.5 yesterday. Like the correlation there. And Alex also liking Aces on the money line. Okay. So some agreement there for sure. All right, let's go over to Wings and the Dream. Game to be played in Atlanta tonight. College Park, -2.5 for the Atlanta Dream. Total moved up. I talked about this one briefly yesterday when I was doing the evening show, and I talked about really liking the Atlanta Dream team total, of course. But let's jump into it. So Dallas doesn't really have anybody on the injury report outside of the norm. For Atlanta, same too. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus is listed as a game time decision. She hasn't played basketball in a while for the Atlanta Dream. And then Area Powers still remains out is what I'm seeing right now. So as far as this game goes, let's go here. You see that the Wings, 1 day's rest, back-to-back losses. They were, kind of getting hot, from being able to score the basketball, but ended up coming off a loss to the Fever, and then they ended up losing their last home game to the Washington Mystics when they were laying 4.5, 5 points, whatever that was. So first of a 2-game road trip for them. And you can see on the road in general, just 2-14 straight up, 6-10 against the spread. They play one way and it's fast. Number 1 team in pace over the last 5 games, as it's been pretty much the majority of the season. First in offensive rating, but last in defensive rating, which is why you see this total go up. And the Atlanta Dream, 1 day's rest, coming back home off the loss to the Phoenix Mercury, first home game after that game road trip. And this team has also, been kind of up and down. It's really difficult to gauge the Atlanta Dream, in my opinion. They are 11-22 straight up, 17-15-1. You can see their home records. They typically play better on the road than they do at home. And their offense has struggled. 10th in offensive rating over the last 5 games, 4th in defensive rating, though, and 8th in net rating as well. So when I look at the Atlanta Dream, well, honestly, it's more in favor of the Wings. I'm looking at the Wings, and we know that they can't really stop anybody. They're typically terrible in the first half, even though the Atlanta Dream are also terrible in the first half. But the Wings have been almost the opposite of what almost the opposite of what the Mystics are in the first half. Where the Mystics sit somewhere like 22-10-1 to the over against the spread in the first half, the Wings are 10-22-1 against the spread in the first half. This is just something that they don't really do well, is play good basketball early. Their opponents are also 26-6-1, and I'm on moneyballer.com just for people who are wondering where I'm getting these numbers from. 26-6-1 are the Wings opponents team total up and over. I talked about liking this total yesterday. It has moved just a tad bit. As a road dog, the 9-4-1 are their opponents to their team total over as well. So this was a spot where even if they, I don't really want to try to pick who's going to win the game. I think Dallas definitely has enough offense to put the pressure on Atlanta's offense to just kind of keep playing and to have to score the basketball. So I like over. I also like the Atlanta team total up and over. I think the best number that I saw available right before the show started, I should have just played it last night, but I think it's 84.5 now. I think this was 82.5 yesterday. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Dream -1.5 at home for Mark. Young Man Travel says this is a tough one, but got to go with the Atlanta team total over. It's the way I'm thinking. Prolific says, good morning, Chris. Went 2-0 yesterday. What up to my guy Helms? He says over 168. Pace will be there. And I agree. I definitely agree. I think, even looking at Dallas team total, it's only 82.5. I think Dallas can get to 83 points. They're the number 1 scoring offensive team in the last 5 games. And the Dream, could be a bit of a flash spot. They still got a lot to play for because them and the Connecticut Sun only sit a half a game in front of the Washington Mystics for the last play-in game. I mean, the last playoff berth, last seed in the playoffs. So I do think it's a game that Atlanta's going to get up for. Brian Howard's going to need to have a big game. I think Tina Charles is going to have a big game. This also would be the game. And, I talked about this the other day. Jordan Canada has gone under on her assist prop. She keeps being priced at 6.5. I think it's like 7-8 games in a row. She's been under. This is the game I would not look towards her to go under on. Not against this Atlanta, this Dallas Wings defense. Dallas is actually conceding let's look at that real quick. Dallas is actually conceding they're doing a little bit better. 8th most assists over the last 5 games, but on the season, they're still giving up the most assists at 23 per game. This could be a game where Jordan Canada actually goes up and over the assist number here. I didn't play it. I'm just sharing information. Doggy Bone likes the over. Justin says, I just needed a reason to bet my Dream today. Mark A gave it to me. Dropping Dime says Canada assists ladder. So he thinks she goes up and over and can find some of those teammates. Alicia Gray could have a big game. Like, it's a lot of players that should be able to score the basketball for the Dallas Wings. This is not a great defense from the 3-point line, from the interior. Like, they can't guard anything. So, yeah, Atlanta team total would be my recommendation in this game. DJ Prop says Freaky Tierra McCown, over 8.5 rebounds, has at least 11 rebounds in 5 games versus Atlanta. And Atlanta is not the best rebounding team. Okay. I couldn't talk you off. Sounds like you've done your homework. Yeah, Atlanta is third worst offensive rebounding team. And defensive rebounding, they have been doing a little bit better recently, though. 4th in rebounding overall over the last 5 games are the Atlanta Dream. Mitchell says he likes the Dreams. He said dream spot for him, money line or spread. Yeah, I think I'd be looking at the team total over. But I couldn't talk anybody off just laying the point with the Atlanta Dream. Maybe it's something that I'll end up getting to as well. Atlanta Dream money line or Team total over would be my recommendations here. All right, let's go over to last game on the board. We got the Los Angeles Sparks and the Chicago Sky. Boy, this is going to be an interesting game. Injury report, super important to mention here. For the Sparks, same thing. Lasia Clarendon, Lexi Burrell continue to be out. Well, actually, Lasia Clarendon is a game-time decision. She hasn't played in a while. I'm not sure if she does play, how much she's actually going to get on the floor. She's missed 8 straight games. I don't think she's played since the Olympic break, and if she did, I think it might have been once. On the opposite side, the Chicago Sky will get Kennedy Carter back. She practiced yesterday. You know, she had some quotes, some interviews with some of the beat reporters and some of the people who cover the team, and said they're really, ready to kind of put the last few games in the mirror and make a run to try to get in that last playoff spot that they, for whatever reason, just they fumbling really, really bad right now. 6-game losing streak. They've lost, I think, 7 of their last 8 as well. Coming off a game where they got smoked to the Aces by 19 points. And they're hanging on by a thread. If Atlanta wins tonight, Chicago loses, Atlanta gets the last spot. So this is a big, big game for Chicago. However, do you take them -5.5? It's a big number for a Chicago team that just hasn't been able to win a game. But on the controversy, the Sparks also are not playing good basketball. 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games, as you guys can see. Last of a short 2-game road trip for them. They're coming off their loss, but they did cover against the Indiana Fever when they were getting 12 points, 11.5, whatever you guys got the number at the other day. I already got the future in, of course, on the Sparks to go under their win total. So I'm rooting for the Sky in this game because I need the Sparks not to win any more games just so it don't even get too sweaty. I think they got 6 games left after this. The Sparks do, and they're against all playoff teams. So as long as nobody overlooks them, I think we should be good on that future we put in. I'll go back to this. If you like the Sparks, I think you like them early. They always play their best basketball early. They can play up to competition and up to talent, in my opinion, but I think they're clearly tanking at this point. I think we've seen it, time and time again. I do expect Chicago to be fired up in this game. They'll need it, even though they have been playing a lot worse at home than they have on the road. You can see that they're only 4-12 straight up, 5-11 against the number at the crib. Offensively, they've been terrible without what's my girl name? Kennedy Carter, of course. Defensively, they've fallen off a cliff as well. The net rated the worst team in the WNBA as of recently. They're better than the Sparks, though. And we think back, even with the Sparks having that big lead in the fourth quarter, the last time these two teams played in LA, it still was Chicago who was able to come out with a win. So this is the game where, I kind of like the Sparks early. I do like the under. I do think the Sparks are going to struggle to score the basketball. I think the Chicago Sky's defense is going to be really good, maybe even a first half under. Especially with Kennedy Carter trying to get acclimated, trying to get her conditioning back under her after having COVID and being out for the last 4 or 5 games, I want to say. And if I like the Sky, I think I want to look at them after halftime. So whatever the spread is at halftime, I do think that the Sparks will shut it down as they typically do. Also, I'd be remiss to not mention Camila Cardoso. Her points sitting at 10.5 right now. This feels like a game Cardoso should absolutely be able to thrive in. I left the money on the table the other day by not playing Aaliyah Boston up and over her points plus rebounds. Cardoso should eat in this game, especially if we're expecting Kennedy Carter to be a little sluggish coming back. I mean, that is their offense. They've been giving the ball to Cardoso a tad bit more, and granted they've had to because, Kennedy Carter hasn't been there, but Cardoso should eat. Her points at 10.5. I know there's games where they don't give her the ball and get her involved, but who out there is really contesting with Camila Cardoso? Granted, especially with, all of the other players, and I'm not going to go through the list, but Tina Charles, Asia Wilson, last game it was Aaliyah Boston. Like, they just don't have a interior presence that's going to be able to keep Cardoso off the rebounds. So I expect her to be able to get a lot of her own offensive rebounds. I also consider Angel Reese to go up and over her 14.5 rebounds at plus 105 on FanDuel yesterday. Didn't get there, but I do think this is a game where Chicago plays with a lot of heart. Should be a lot of missed shots from the Sparks side. You can see that, they're not the greatest offensive team, especially not for the entirety of the game. So I like Cardoso over her points. And if I like the Sky, I don't want to lay 5 with them, even though I think that there's potential that they could cover here. I think I just want to wait and try to get a live line with the Sky. Let's see what you guys think about this one. Going back to the last game, CG says he likes Satu over her 17.5 points tonight. Couldn't talk you off. Mitchell says if Dream win and Sky lose tomorrow, will Dream be in the 8th playoff spot? If the Dream wins, yeah, they will. Yep, they will. They absolutely will. Ball Talk says he's laying it with Chicago. Laying points with Chicago. Oh, my fault. Laying points with Chicago isn't it. Justin says you tell that Sparks future, so I feel like I have Sky money line. No reason for me to bet this game. That's how I kind of feel too, man. If the Sparks are winning at halftime, no, I'll be a little bit more interested, Justin, for sure. Kelsey Plum is playing, Josh. She just took their last game off. Aces got a clean injury report. Cardoso double-double is at plus 310 on Bet365. Dropping dimes is okay. Watcher says Cardoso tends to go under her line when Caitlin Clark plays, when Kennedy Carter plays, and over when Kennedy Carter is out. I just kind of feel like, her minutes could be restricted today, Watcher. So I think 10.5 is a solid number for Cardoso. Hopefully she don't hook me if I end up getting there. But yeah, so I'm liking this one. Helms likes under. I'm in agreement there. Young Man Travel says Sky at home. Kennedy coming back. Playoff on the line. Laying with the Sky. That's how I feel. But man, Sparks are. I don't know. Dosa double-double for Dougie Bone. Dropping Dime says he already played the first half under 83.5. I'm right here with Helms. He says I can't lay 5.5 even at home. They've been worse at home. That's the other part, Helms. They've been worse at home. And if we look real quick, let's just look at, because you guys can see the numbers right here. 5-11 against the spread at home. What if we just look at the Sky and they're at home and they're a home favorite? 3-1 against the spread. So they have covered as a home favorite. As a home dog, though, just 2-10 against the spread, and 0-12 straight up. So home favorite at the crib, they are 4-0 straight up, 3-1 against the number. But these were a long time ago. All these games happened before July 10th. So just to add some context to that. I do think it's a lot of good plays being dropped off in the chat for sure. Jay Aries likes Cardoso over 10.5 at plus 100. Alex likes under. DJ Prop says Angel Rodman will be back today. She should get 15 rebounds in this spot. And I agree. Florence says 0.5 got me Gabby last game, 16, 7, and 5. I don't know what the 0.5 got you mean. Maybe you played her. I'm not sure how you played her. But Gabby looked good last night. She is definitely starting to put it together. Back-to-back games with double digits for Gabby Williams. She looked good, and she locked up too. Kara says best slate today for WNBA, and I agree. I want to go through and find some player props. I do like the Cardoso one a little bit more than anything else. All right, so let's get up off here. Recap of what I just kind of talked about. This isn't really in any order, but I guess if we were to go in order, we talked about the Minnesota game first. I like Minnesota. Minus 140, I think, was on Bet 365 or ESPN Bet, one of the books. I can't remember, but I wanted to put the price in here because I'm not laying minus 150 with any of these teams. But I do think it's a favorites type day. I think Atlanta gets the win today. I like their team total a little bit more than I like the spread. I think the Aces beat Connecticut on the road, even though they've been playing against some cupcakes if you go through and look at who they've been beating recently. And I think Minnesota also cools off the Indiana Fever. I've been big on the Fever. Not really wanting to fade them at home. I think Minnesota plays up to the competition today. And I think they can beat the Fever. So, if I can just get them on the money line minus 140, not having to lay a price at all, I like it. Cardoso, over her 10.5 points. Like I said, religiously, you just fade the Sparks bigs. They can't guard anybody. They've looked absolutely terrible. And if we expect Kennedy Carter to, be a shell of herself, even just a tad bit, we expect Coach Teresa Weatherspoon to get a ball to Cardoso, and she should be able to eat on the block tonight. This is a Sparks team that doesn't have a lot of size. Cardoso, even if she misses some of those bunnies, she should be able to get her own rebound and get up and over 10.5 points. So that's the way I'm seeing the game. I appreciate everybody for coming through and rocking with me today. As always, resources, talk about these every single day. Odds Jam, 20% off your first month using code CBC. The eye screen is absolutely impeccable. I mean, you want to find the best line. You want to do it every single time. So definitely check them out. It's the best way that you can do so. I keep it pulled up when I'm looking at any of the games. And then Moneyball is still 50% off your first billing cycle. I know people have been using the code because I get an email when you do. So I appreciate you guys for tapping in. Checking out moneyballer.com. Just a one-stop shop, super simple process to go through and find everything that you need to handicap the games. And I know people in the chat use it as well. So 50% off your first month using code CBC. And then there's some other resources at the bottom for you guys as well. If you enjoyed the show, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, share the show, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Link for all my official plays in the description as it always is. Best of luck, bet responsibly. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy the Friday night football game in Brazil as well. And I will catch you guys in the next one, man. I'm out.